Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mark Cabrera here, offering you another course, another seminar that we're holding today. And the seminar is about how to grow your business, what it takes. So, what it takes to grow your business. This is our subject today. And I will give you the 10 steps that I've learned over the years that I've been doing this. The reason why I'm able to talk to you about this today is because I've been doing business for 26 years in the real estate. And I've sold over 1,000 houses at this point and helped so many families own their home. But more importantly, being able to achieve your goals in the business is more important than anything else if you were to get into the business. It's about changing your lifestyle. So today we're going to be discussing 10 steps to grow your business. Let's talk about the 10 steps first, and I'm going to go through in detail in a minute. But in a brief summary of it, the number one thing that we need to have is to be able to identify where we are in the business and what you want out of the business. So what type of business you're in right now will make a difference, because there's many types of business in real estate, and which I will tell you, having multiple revenue stream in this business is very helpful because it allows you to grow one part of the business as other parts of the business may slow down depending on the economy, depending on a lot of factors around you. So you don't want to be dependent on what's around you more than what you can do. So let me give you different types of businesses that are available for you in the real estate. I think you already know more than likely. Some of them are actually pretty obvious, but you got the commercial side, you got the residential side, you have the leasing on both residential and commercial. You have the listing side on each transaction side, you have the buyer side, and you have the tenant side. There's a lot of ways to actually make money in this business, but there's also the investment side where you help investors purchase property and turn around and sell the property. So to me, that's what I call a recyclable client, which means you can constantly work with the same client over and over and over and just make a lot of money doing it. So, and then you also have, so looking at it from identifying what kind of business you want makes a huge difference of understanding where you're trying to get to, because a lot of times we're only focused on real estate sales because we think that's where the most money is. Yeah, the most money can be made in the sales of real estate, especially if you went into commercial properties, because the commercial properties, if you're selling buildings that are $35-50 million buildings, yes, you could actually make a lot of money doing that. But the biggest difference is what's available to you, what you have, the resources that you work with. So what you got to identify is where the business is around you and the closest one to you. So if it was me, I would be picking the low-hanging fruits first before I start picking the ones above it or higher ones. And the reason why you would do that is because it takes a lot less energy and it takes a lot less resources out of you to be able to make the most money or pick the most fruits you can possibly get. So it's just logical for you to pick the low-hanging fruit. It's the same idea here. So you need to identify the type of business you want and the current business you currently have. If you don't have any business at all, then you got to choose a particular niche that you got to master before you go into the second one. That's one thing that a lot of people make mistakes on. They go into the business and they want to do everything. Well, yes, you want to do everything, but you're not going to make income on everything unless you've mastered everything, which is more difficult than mastering one thing. So focusing on one area of your business and you're mastering it. When I say mastering it, that you know everything that you can possibly know in terms of how to speak to people. Let's say if you want to get into picking up listings, if that's what you want to do in this business, you want to master picking up listings and getting listings and obtaining listings. So the number one thing you have to understand is you have to master prospecting. How do you get to face with people that are looking to list their property, right? The number two part is looking at it from, since you're face-to-face with the people, how do you get in depth in terms of being able to show them your experience and also be able to give them correct information that will make him feel confident enough to work with you. So mastering a particular niche in the business is very critical when you're first starting out. Whether you want to master the buying side of it or the listing side of it, if this is the area you want to get into, which 90% of you guys probably are, then you have the rental side, you have the property management side, you have the listing of the rental side. There's a lot of different areas, and that's why. So let me briefly go through everything here. So identify the type of business you want and the current business you have. Then document and create standards for your current business and create processes for the new part of your business. I'm going to get into this later on, but I'm just going to read right through this so you have an idea what the 10 steps that we're going to be using to be able to actually get you to where you need to go. Point A to point B requires you to take the step-by-step process. Focus on the process and schedule daily activities around the building multiple processes. So a lot of us focus on our clients, which is great. But our clients, when they've bought a house or they've listed the house and they've sold their house, they're gone. So you cannot just go from one client to the next client without realizing that there is process that you can create that will make it consistent. So just like making income, you can consistently make that same amount of income or more every single month. So you can make a career out of this. Otherwise, it's a lot harder for you to make a career out of this if you are getting monthly income that's inconsistent with the bills that you get. So at the end of the month, if there's not enough income every single month, eventually you're going to quit the business. There's no way you would stay into a business that you're not going to be able to pay even your bills or even be able to eat. So focus on the processes. Spend time for marketing and prospecting as part of your daily activities. Involve other people to leverage your time and learn to delegate and not abdicate. And I'll explain to you that a little bit later on as well. Attend mastermind groups and seminars to obtain fresh ideas to implement to your business. Apply the trainer concept once you have a team so that you're not going to be the only resource for people and there's not going to be too many bottlenecks. And I've seen this many times in many different businesses outside of even real estate. And what I see is once you start hitting bottlenecks where the only person who knows how to do anything is the business slows down to that level and it's not going to go any further because you only have 24 hours to be able to serve everybody. So at some point you're going to run out of time, and then that's the maximum you could do. Have a consistently weekly meeting with your team and vendors to keep them motivated and focused. Measure your success and adjust your failures. Work on self-improvement. So these are basically the steps that we're going to look at and we're going to move forward with. And let's go ahead and get to the first one, which I started already with you like 5 minutes ago. Identify the type of business you want and the current business you have. So it's quite simple. Look at it from where you are right now. If you're not doing any transactions right now, my recommendation is start with working with buyers because those are the easiest one to work with. You got to master being able to work your buyers to be able to purchase a home, which means you need to be influential. You need to use the power of influence to be able to kind of move them from point A to point B. That requires mastery in our business. So when I say mastery it requires for you to understand the psychology behind why people would buy a home. And a lot of the times we run into issues where we don't realize the people that we were working with, they want certain things and our expectations of what they want is not necessarily would be congruent. So being able to understand what your client wants and what's realistic out there in the field makes a big difference whether or not you're going to be able to sell them anything. So for example, if I have a client right now, I do have a client right now that's looking at $600,000 single house in Montgomery County, but she wants houses. She ends up picking houses that are like $750,000 to begin with. Well, $600,000 house today is different than a $750,000 house. So I have to constantly sit down with her and remind her that this is the price range that we are looking at in order for her to move forward. But as time goes by and and things are not actually selling, or they're not able to buy a home, she's the one convincing me now that she wants these properties at 600,000. So at the end of the day, you don't need to do anything. Let the market adjust the mindset of your client. But you have to be able to constantly remind them, hey, listen, you're off the mark. You're off the mark. Let's take a look at it together. That's another thing that I would recommend. Any opportunity you have to meet with a client, meet with them and actually show them, get them involved in the search process. We make the mistake. Clients always tell us, oh, just send me the properties and I'll look at it and I'll see if I like anything. Great. It's like, shooting darts in the dark. Hopefully those darts actually hit the wall and hit the target. It doesn't work very well that way. It's better to get them involved in the search process so they know what's realistic and what they can make happen and which ones they can't. So this is the direction that you want to take with your client when it comes to. So identify the type of business you want. That's the easiest one. Now you have the listing side. Some people say, oh, I just want to focus on the listing, getting into business. Focus on the listing, great. Listing requires a lot more steps that you need to be able to create a listing package or presentation for yourself and to make it present as you are going to be competing with other agents. You want to be able to sit down with your client, talk to them about their home, right? But more importantly, be able to connect with them that they're being understood by you, that you're understanding what they're trying to accomplish in the process of selling their home. If you are coming in there in a commoditized scenario where you're trying to just get the listing at the lowest listing price, you might not get the most out of that listing, because if it's focused only on numbers, it's hard for you to convince the seller to go a certain direction when the seller's dictating exactly what direction they want to go in terms of what's realistic. So I've had clients or even people that I'm mentoring come up to me and say, how come my clients are not willing to drop the price? Well, because they're dictating everything to you and they became the expert rather than you. So your expertise make a huge difference in terms of how you're presenting yourself. You have to present yourself as the expert. It's much more difficult if the client thinks that they're the expert and they're just using you as one of the agents, just put it on the MLS. There's no money in that. The real money comes in is that you're the consultant and the client respects you as a consultant. So when people ask me like, oh, well, Mark, the client wants it at this time, I usually tell them, well, wants to see me at a certain time, I tell them, well, let me check my schedule and I will see what I can do to actually fit them in my schedule. But that's the attitude I come in with, not like I'm always available, because I'm not always available, but I can make special arrangements to actually make myself available for clients. But at the same time, I want my clients to know that I do have a schedule that I run. I do have a business that I run, and they're part of the process. See, that's the attitude you got to come in with. You can't come in with the attitude, okay, well, let me get the clients actually comes first rather than your processes within your business. If you want your business to grow, you need the process to grow with the business, and you need the process to run the business. When I say the process, I'm talking about being able to consistently prospect for 2 hours every day, being able to do marketing, whatever amount of time you need to do on the marketing side, being able to do some community work so then you can actually expand your reach with the people that you will meet out there. You don't replace those with a client appointment. You have to have time for the client to be able to fit into your time. So it's not the other way around, because a lot of times I meet some agents and they're saying, oh, well, but clients come first. No problem, clients come first. But you got to understand, if your attitude is the client comes first and the client doesn't put you first, then you're not going anywhere with that client. You're just running around, and the minute that client finds another agent, they'll work with another agent because they don't have enough respect for you. So make sure you maintain respect for yourself when you're scheduling these kind of appointments and making sure that you control the time when you meet your client.